All right, how'd it go this week?
We've had a really good week.
Excellent. Are the auto sits kicking in?
Yeah, he automatically sits. Occasionally you have to do the leash, but he's been good. My wife took him for a long walk yesterday, and he was good for her.
Good.
He's still a little bit jumpy when other dogs come, or maybe other people.
Okay, is this on the walk?
On the walk, yeah.
Sure. So if he, like, let's say a dog isn't passing, like he's wanting to like jump to play.
Yeah.
Okay. And how do you handle that situation?
When I had him out yesterday, I just tried to get him to sit and wait for the dog to go by.
Sure.
But he still went for the dog, and I tapped, but I don't think I had it turned up high enough.
Sure. Do you remember the number you tapped him at?
Probably around 30.
30?
Yeah.
So what I do is we treat this like we would treat reactivity, because it's technically reactivity. It's just he's wanting to play.
Right.
So let's say the next time you see a dog, what you want to do is always just assume. Okay, just assume until you get it under control that he's gonna lunge to play.
Yeah.
So we step aside, we shorten our leash, and I'd actually shorten it more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that, perfect. So what you're doing is you're just limiting range of motion. Okay. So if he lunges, he's not gonna get far, because also you don't know that dog he's gonna lunge at, if they're gonna have a problem with it, right?
Right.
So this helps keep him still at your side. You're nice and relaxed, there's no tension. We never want to be holding a dog back like this, okay? Because that's going to create more frustration. So you shorten your leash. If I know last time at 30 it had no effect, then I'm already at 35.
Yeah.
Or it could be already at 40, okay? When we get reactivity or lunging, you always want to go straight up, okay? Up de-escalates, back or up and back escalate. Okay, so super important, because you could be pulling him back and tapping at the same time, and you could be on 100, and this is telling him to amp up, this is telling him not to amp up, so we get conflicting messages. So pulling up and tapping at the same time is the most effective, okay? So every time you see a dog, you just step aside. If he lunges, you're up and you're tapping. You want to see him relax into a sitting position, and then if you look at your remote, like, oh, 60. Then the next time you see a dog, just go to 60 if that worked, right?
Yeah.
So we're always building off of each failed experience, so that this way you get to the answer faster.
Okay.
Because I know this guy can go up there in terms of power.
Yeah.
You can go in bigger jumps, like 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 to 70, because you want to get to the answer faster, okay? And then once you find it, then you just know every time I see a dog, I'm gonna go to the 60 or whatever. And then eventually, so what we're trying to do is get Milo used to seeing a dog in passing while being stationary, which is harder.
Yeah.
Okay. So once it gets over that, then you progress to I can just walk past dogs, and I know I can go to 60 or 70 or whatever. Because then as I'm walking, if Milo like looks and like thinks about it, you can tap him and he just redirects back this way.
And even like if you see the dog coming, shorten up, even if you're going to keep walking.
I would always step aside, if possible. Okay. If you have the space, always step aside. It's easiest in the beginning for you to step aside and control him than trying to walk past him. Okay, so anytime we work with reactivity, I always tell everybody step aside. It's harder for the dog, but it's easier for you.
Yeah.
Okay, and then once it's passed, you keep going.
Yep.
Eventually, once you find that number, and you see he's not lunging at dogs to play or whatever, then you can progress towards, now we can walk past dogs, okay? And you can also use space to your advantage. So if they're walking their dog on the left, we're gonna have person, dog, dog, person, right? And there's exceptions to things. So like, let's say you have to walk past.
Yeah.
There is no space to step aside, but their dog does not look friendly. You can move Milo to your right. That's fine, because you're making the decision. What I don't want is Milo to move to the right on his own decision, okay? So if you're walking in a situation, you're like, hey, we need more space here, you could always bring them, and from behind is easiest, going in front is harder. Yeah. So switching them over to the right side from behind, and then you can even just step aside and like let them pass. People want to keep moving, that's our instinct. In my opinion, much harder to control a situation while you're moving than when you're stationary, okay? Yep. Anything else?
We're also thinking about collars, because he's wearing 3 collars now.
Oh, sure.
And should we just plan on staying with the prong collar?
How does he do? Do you find like you're using it at all? Or is it all through the e-collar?
No, just the e-collar. And even not even that much.
Sure.
But I don't know if we're ready for that yet. Just
sure.
For the situations we were just talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Now that you brought that up, with reactivity, prong gives you a little bit more leverage.
Yeah.
Once you've cleared through all the stuff and you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, he's really responsive and we don't need the help of the prong anymore, then you can, wean off of it. And then if you find like, hey, I actually really like having the prong, you just go back to it,
Yeah.
If you're not wanting him to have 3 collars like he does, you can always just switch his tags to a V collar.
Yeah.
So this way, when it's always on, he still has his tags, because that's really the meaning of the flat collar there.
Yeah.
And then he would just be naked inside the house. But yeah, it's personal preference. I get dogs that have all this stuff plus a slip chain and all this, like a muzzle and everything. It's just, I get it.
A lot of gear.
But yeah, in the beginning, while you're in the training phase, there's no rush to get that off. And then once you feel like, I barely have to use my leash at all, and it's all through remote collar, then you can just go to your flat and your e-collar.
Do you have an opinion about harnesses?
Harnesses never.
Okay.
Harnesses promote pulling.
Okay.
They're meant for pulling. They work more to the dog's leverage because our center of gravity is here,
Yeah.
and their center of gravity is lower,
Yeah.
and their power is in their chest.
Yeah.
Right? So like huskies pull sleds, they put harnesses on them. Horses that pull carriages, they pull the carriages through a harness, right?
Yeah.
So what you'll end up finding is you'll go to old habits of kind of pulling and stuff with the harness, and it'll start to promote pulling. And next thing you know, he's doing this again.
Okay.
Your setup is perfectly fine. Unless he's going to be pulling something, I wouldn't use a harness. Yeah. Even if it says no pull harness, that's an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Harnesses are meant for pulling. But even those things, they no. In my opinion, not good. Okay? Anything else?
The other thing that he's doing a little bit when we're walking is he's not like actually foraging, but he's doing a lot of sniffing and
Okay.
that sort of thing. Is that okay as long as he's staying like where he's supposed to be?
So
He's testing me. He's pushing boundaries a little bit.
okay, if you think it's testing, then I would say correct it.
And then is that just a tap? Or
Correct.
Is it
Keep your
trying to
movement
tap?
and tap.
Okay.
Because if he's still at your side but just doing this, you're just saying don't sniff the ground,
Yeah.
right? So for my dogs, if I walk them in the heel, I allow them to sniff the ground, but
Okay.
they're glued to my side.
Okay.
Okay, they don't leave me. Now, if I were to notice the dog starting to drift off because of
Yeah.
the scent, then I start correcting it and not allowing it, because it's family pet stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
But as long as he's getting his, time to be a dog, whatever, like he doesn't go home thinking like, oh man, Dad didn't let me sniff on the walk. That's the human component.
Yeah.
But yes, that's technically something that we would correct if he's venturing off, or if you like right there, you said he's testing the boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Anything that you feel like is testing the boundaries or whatever, you would correct it.
Correct it.
Okay. Other questions?
I think that's it.
So I think today we were going to cover the recall.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yep.
That was the plan. I got the leash.
Okay. Is that your leash?
No.
Okay. So 30 feet is the length that we use.
Yep.
I think it's the perfect length. It gives the dog enough space to run around at a realistic distance. And what we're going to do is there it is. Get this off. So we're going to clip this one to his prong.
Just switch to the mount.
Yeah. And you're going to clip this one to the prong as well. And I'll explain why in a moment. Maybe I'll get set up over here. All right.
One like this.
So the reason for the 2 leashes, and I'll take the shorter one from you, is for this exercise, dogs tend to get savvy to it after a few reps, and you're going to see him start to prematurely run towards you.
Yeah.
Okay? Or he won't want to leave you because
Yeah.
he's like, oh, you're just going to call me again.
Yeah.
So we use the short leash here so that I can actually move away with him so that we can repeat this drill. Okay?
Okay.
So here, the one that you're going to be holding is here. And I'm going to show you a few things. Recall is pretty coordination heavy, so don't worry about retaining everything all at once. Okay,
Right.
You'll get it as we practice. You use remote in right hand.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I do is with the leash here, I take the loop over my thumb like this, and then you have your remote here. Okay, that frees up these 3 fingers. I then have the leash over my left hand like this. Okay. So when we're doing this exercise, recall exercise, Milo's going to be running towards you. And when he's running towards you, you're going to want to take your 3 fingers here and just move backwards and throw that leash down. Okay? Now, when you stop throwing the leash down, you're going to take the leash here over your pointer finger. You're going to clasp around it like this. Okay. The reason why we do this, okay, is this locks the leash. So if Milo were to just take off, if you're holding the leash like this, you're going to get rope burn. Okay. So since I know I have this here, as long as he's not running into anything dangerous, I can let this go and not worry that he's going to get away from me. Okay. Now when we do it here, when you reel it in and you lock it like this is the same concept.
Yeah.
Even if he's running, he might jolt you a little bit, but he's not going to rip this through your hand. Okay. So you don't even have to hold it that tight. Just a nice firm grip, and this will lock your leash. Okay.
Yep.
So what we're doing here is if I back up and Milo's running towards me and I leave this completely slack, he's going to have 30 feet to run that way, right? So to make things a little bit easier for everybody is we reel that leash in. So by the time he gets to me and I shorten it, he's only got 15 feet to make a mistake, okay? Now in the beginning, what we're going to do here, excuse me, it's underneath his paw there, everybody. Can you pick that paw up for me? Thank you, sir. Oh, almost. There we go. All right. Is in the beginning, we're not going to use the word come. Okay, we're going to teach him how to return using the pressure first, and then we're going to layer in the word before the end of the class. Is in the beginning, you're going to pull on the leash, and you can see right here, like I got a little bit of tension on him. You see how he responded, right? So what we would do is when I put that tension on him, imagine I'm 30 feet away, and I'm tapping.
Yeah.
The moment Milo starts to move towards you, we stop the tapping, and then we just move backwards and throw that leash down. Okay. So we're going to shape all of this one step at a time. Any questions about this?
Just, I don't know if it's about this necessarily, but just noticing like he wants to stay by me right now.
Yes, that's why I have the short leash.
He's not like responding to the break command really. He's afraid
Okay.
to go away from me.
Does he have any drive for any toys?
Like,
Or does he really like food?
yeah, he'll eat.
Hey, Corey,
Snacks.
do you mind cutting me a couple of slices off of that sausage? Does he have any allergies?
No.
Of that beef sausage, please. So I'll give you this. We're going to do something to help incentivize that break, okay?
So just like this.
So over your, leash over your thumb. Yep, and then you have your remote in your right hand. That frees up those 3 fingers, right?
Yep.
And then the leash is going to go over your left hand, like that, exactly.
Okay. Ready.
And then you're going to loop it around this way as well. So come in,
Okay.
like that. So that's the lock, right? There we go. So if you do that, that will lock your leash. The other thing you could do is if you end up having to drop it, is stepping on the leash, because then the friction of it will slow it down.
Yeah.
But I've had, throughout the years, people panic and they go to old habits and they try to grab the leash and it just like rips right through. Not pretty. Okay? So I'll have you go ahead and walk towards that wall while I hold Milo here. And what are we currently set at?
It's at 25.
Let's go down to 18. And I'm going to coach you through this, okay? So you're going to go ahead and pull a little bit until you feel some tension. And tap, 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 tap. Now backwards. Now reel your leash in. Yeah, keep reeling it in.
It's hard.
That's okay, right? That's fine right there. Good. Now go ahead and praise him. And you're going to say the word break.
Break.
Good. Come here, bud. So, I think what's slowing you down is because you already have it pre-wrapped.
Yeah.
And then if you just leave it over, you're able to throw down more, and then you just clasp at the end, okay? Yeah, this has got a lot of components going on here. All right, we're gonna repeat. Okay, go and get some distance.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're gonna move away again. Good, and then tap, 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 tap. Now backwards. Hold right there. Yep. Good. And break. Let's go ahead and bump it. Let's go to 23. Come here, bud. Attaboy. Come on. Good. Want to get some distance.
Should I just stay back here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tap, 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 tap. Good. Perfect. Grab a pouch too, please. A training pouch. Thank you. So what we got here is some training sausage, okay? So what you're gonna do is when you give the word break, you're gonna allow him to, yeah, you know what's going on. Let's see if I can size this to you. And you're going to say the word break, and you're going to toss the sausage. Okay? So this should fit around your waist. And then he put them in bigger chunks. So what you would do, you can. So I get a chunk like this, right? Break and toss. Okay? So you're getting them used to, when you hear break, move away from me. Okay? There you go. Yeah. Oh, does it? Oh, it makes life easier. I guess I may have overdone it there. I sized it to myself. Perfect. And we're at 23?
Yeah.
Okay. Careful there, buddy. 1 second. Let's get you entangled. There we go. And tap, tap, tap. Now back and wait there.
Break. Just swing pieces in. Break.
Good. Come here, buddy. Good. We're gonna try one more like that, then we're gonna make a change. Tap, 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 and back.
Break. Break.
Good. So when you go with him on your training walks,
Yeah.
just bring a couple pieces of cheese or something.
Yeah.
When you cue the break, just toss it. And eventually you'll start seeing when he hears break, he's gonna just go off on his own. Okay? What we're gonna do here is before you're doing the pull with the tapping, now we're gonna tap first. If we don't see a response within 2 to 3 taps, then you're gonna keep tapping and then move backwards and pull on your leash, okay?
Okay.
So tap, 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 tap. Now start to move back, tap, tap. Good.
Break. Break.
Good boy. Good. Repeat that 4 more times. Good. Let's go to 28. And tap, tap, tap. Now backwards. Yeah, like that. Good. And wait.
Break.
probably going to be his favorite class.
I know. Sausages.
Okay. Tip, 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 and back, tip. Good. Good.
Right, break.
Good. I'm gonna do 2 more.
You're not lying about my coordination.
Yeah. Tap, 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 tap. Start to pull a bit. There you go. Now back. Good. Hold right there.
Right.
Good. Yeah, boy, we're gonna do 1 more. Let's go to 33. Tap, 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 tap. There you go. Now back. Good.
Break.
Good. So now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna keep that same pattern.
Yeah.
But when he arrives, what I'm gonna have you do is keep straight. So when you're moving backwards and Milo's coming towards you, you're gonna keep straight. And once he arrives, you're gonna grab short leash, lightly up, to create this.
Okay.
Then you're gonna praise. We're not gonna say sit, okay? So pull, tap, all the same stuff. Keep straight. Move back 2-3 steps. Once he arrives, lightly up on the leash here. Wait a moment. Break, and then toss. Okay? Tip, 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 tip. There you go. Now back. 1, 2, 3. That's good. Right. Now wait a moment. Up. Yep. Wait a moment. Break.
Break.
Now toss.
Break.
Good boy. Good. We're going to repeat that 4 more times. Tip, tip, tip. There you go. And back. 1, 2. Good. A little bit of praise here. Good boy.
Break. Break. Break.
Good. Break, break, break. Come on. Good. We're going to do it 3 more times.
Should he be responding quicker
To what?
to the taps? Or is he doing good?
Yeah, that's why we're usually, that's why we're going up little by little. We're actually going to go to 38 now. But the reason why we did the pulling in the beginning was to give him directional pressure. And then now he is responding. He's just trying to figure it out. But the last one, he started moving towards you without any leash pulling. It just took a few taps. And we're trying to get it to be, as immediate to the first to second tap as possible. Okay? Tap, tap. There you go, tap. Good, and back. 1, 2, 3. Good.
Yeah, break.
And break. Good. So does that make sense with the sausage stuff?
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, Milo. That's the end of your treat.
Yep. And tap, tap. Exactly. Good. 1, 2, 3. Hold right there. Good.
Good boy. Yes. Cool.
And break. Break.
Break.
He's like, no sausage, no break. All right. We'll do one more.
All right.
Then we're gonna change something.
Okay.
Hold on, buddy. Okay. Good. And tip. Tip. Right. Good. And back 1, 2, 3. Good. Good.
Boy.
Excellent. So now everything stays the same. Break. But now instead of pulling up on the prong, what you'll do is you can either step on the leash right here, or you can grab this, but you're just going to start tapping first to see if the tapping creates the sitting position. Break. If he doesn't respond to 2 to 3, then we tap and pull up.
Okay.
Tip, tip, and back. 1, 2, 3. That's good. Good. Oh, there you go. And just praise.
I didn't even tap, so.
Good.
Does this make any tired?
And break.
Break, Milo.
Good. 4 more. Good. Wait a moment. Good. And tip. Good. And back. 1, 2, 3. Good. And praise. Much better. So that one it looked like it was more immediate, right?
I didn't tap twice.
Yeah. Break. That was pretty good.
Yeah. Break.
3 more. Come on, bud. Here, try the tapping. Let's see what he does. Tap, 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 tap. Not me. Tap, tap. Try giving a little pull here. Tap, tap, tap. Pull, pull, pull. Tap, tap. There he goes. Good. Good. And praise. Good. Break.
Break.
Good. 2 more. Tap, 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 tap. I think you may have lost connection. Try 45. Tap, tap, tap. Yeah, a little pull. Tap, tap. Good. Attaboy. Attaboy. Good. And 1 more, then we'll give him a break. Good. Break, break. Break. Good boy. Good. And tip, tip. There you go. Good. And back. 1, 2, 3. Good. Perfect. So go ahead and say break.
Break.
And have you walk over this way.
Break.
Good. So we'll let them rest for a second. So what we did there is gradually start shaping the command. So in the beginning, because now this is different, right? For the past couple of weeks, tap has meant walk on my side or put your butt down. Now we have to teach him that tap means to come to you. So in the beginning, we started with a little bit of directional pressure, low level collar. He starts going to you. We didn't worry about the sits or anything, right? Just praise, good. And eventually we weaned off the leash pulling and we went straight to the remote, because in the end that's the only means of connection you're going to have. So we started weaning off the training wheels of the leash as soon as possible. Then we started adding in the auto sits. So it's kind of like with heel, right? Heels walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop. With the recall, it's come to me, stay with me, sit when we're not moving, whatever. So same idea. Now when we do the recall, I don't care where the dog lands, but I want him in your immediate space, within 2 to 3 feet of you. Okay, so right, left, front, back, or between your legs, I don't care, but within that immediate space. Okay. Sometimes the dogs will land away from the owner, so like they'll land like there, and the owner will come and they'll praise like this. That would be outside of the bubble. Okay. So here, if Milo landed too far, what you would actually do is turn to face him, start tapping, and moving backwards. Okay. You always want Milo to complete the command 100%. If you accept him landing at a distance, what it ends up becoming is you'll call him, he'll start to run towards you, he'll start to slow down, and then look like he's going to stop here and then just take off again. Okay, so we always train them to come to us 100% of the way. Otherwise, it becomes unreliable. Okay, we don't repeat the command. So if you call him once, because we're going to start layering the word now, is we don't keep calling. Simply Milo come, and then use the remote and your movement to make him move to you. So the reason that movement backwards is important, where I'm telling you 1, 2, 3 like this, is because it gives Milo something to attach to. Most people, when they call their dog, they stay stationary. So they'll get the dog's attention. The dog's like, what? Right? And then they go back to what they're doing. And then the owner will say, like, but when I try to leave the dog park and I'm walking away, my dog starts to run to me because they're scared I'm going to leave them. And I go, the dog's not scared you're going to leave them. It's because they're moving now. And the movement is attracting them. So here for Milo, it gives them something to attach to. But also, like if you're at the park and there's a lot more stuff going on, it differentiates you from everything else that's happening within that moment, okay? Plus, let's say he happens to be out of earshot, he can't hear you, but you're able to get his attention with the e-collar, and he looks around and he sees you doing this, it's gonna draw him to you, okay? So that is a forever thing. So to this day, with my dogs, if you ever see me call them, you'll always see me at least do 3 steps like this, okay? So the moment I get their eye contact, I'm just moving back to let them know you gotta come this way, okay? So I do 3 each time. You can do more, at least 3, okay? Let me think here. Oh, when you're outside. So the way we're practicing this is not realistic, okay? No one's gonna be holding Milo for you.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of stuff going on. Does he have any prey drive, squirrel drive, or anything like that?
Not really.
No?
He's interested, but he doesn't chase.
Okay. So what is his big things? Like what are his, like dogs, it sounds like?
Dogs. And then people occasionally.
Okay.
Especially if it's somebody he knows.
Does he play with with the kids or anything?
No. They don't do anything, Jesse.
Okay.
I really take him to play with them.
So.
Not, he in the house he does.
Hmm.
And he is a little bit aggressive with them, like when he gets hyped up.
Oh, sure.
But outside, not really. It's dogs are the things that will get his attention.
Okay. So what you can do is you're going to need the long leash in the beginning so you can make him return.
Yeah.
Okay. Everything's about conditioning and making it happen, because he just thinks every time you call me, I have to come back. So if you call him without the leash, and then even with the collar, you're trying to make him, but it's too early on, and he's like, I don't want to do it. Now he's learned that, okay? So at this stage, like let's say there's a neighborhood dog that you guys always play with or whatever, like a neighbor or something. You can have a session with them, which is one-on-one, and you have the long leash on, because if there's more dogs, they're just gonna get tangled up.
Yeah.
So it's just 1 or 2 more dogs, that's fine. And then just let them play. And then when you see a nice opportunity, position yourself near the end of the leash. Milo, come, tap, moving back, pulling him out of the play. Good boy. Waiting a moment, break, and then letting him go back to play. Okay? So in order to make it applicable to life, you have to start applying it to those situations. Which if you had a dog that had prey drive, it makes it easier. Because it's like I just need squirrels and rabbits or whatever, and I can go to the park and let them chase and then just practice with that, and that will transfer to dogs. But since he's kind of like, his interest is limited, that's, you want to use the most realistic thing to you. The other thing you can do is, like, let's say you're walking. Hey, Corey, would you bring me a water bottle and then turn off the blower, please? if, let's say, go to the park, pop him in a long leash, Milo break, and just like walk, and let him be a dog. And then like looking for little opportunities where he might get distracted by a scent or like something off at the distance, and I just position myself behind him. And I always do from behind, because typically when people call their dogs, they're chasing something, running away, or running towards something they shouldn't. Okay, thank you. So I try to always recreate that away factor, either with the dog chasing something, or facing away, staring at something. And I let them really get into it, because the more he gets distracted by that stimuli, the more disconnected he gets from you. So I tell people it's like kids in video games.
Yeah.
Like growing up, like my mom would like, wash the dishes. I'm like, okay, mom. And then an hour later, she'd be like, did you wash the dishes? I'm like, when did you tell me to wash the dishes?
Yeah.
Because they're so in tune to it. So same thing for the dog. If there's something that he's really interested in, like playing with the dogs or whatever, it's kind of like a video games to a kid. So I use that to my advantage, okay? Yeah. Now, let's say you go to the park and there's like nothing for you to utilize as distraction. You can do this, okay? It's not realistic, but it's better than nothing, okay? Is like you have one of the kids or your wife hold Milo, and they're like distracting them. They can even play with them a little bit, and as they're playing, Milo come, okay? And then with the second leash, they can force the disconnect because they can take him and walk away. I'm trying to think here how else you could try to apply it. Any questions about this stuff?
It makes sense, I think. And I'm just thinking about ways to apply it in realistic situations. And we have dogs that we play with, and
yeah.
I think that's probably one of the best opportunities.
Yeah, because if you can't call them away from a distraction, then it's kind of pointless, because that's the whole intention of it. Yeah. Recall does take people the longest to teach, because in most cases it requires people to go somewhere. Yeah. So if they don't happen to be conveniently located in front of a park, now they got to get in the car, go to the park, practice, get back in the car, right? So heel is the fastest because you practice heel every day. You walk your dog. Yeah. Recall tends to take longer, so don't be pressed on like, oh, like, it's 2 months and he's still not 100%. That's normal. Because the other thing is, if you drill this too much, it'll make him paranoid, and then he won't leave your side, which you're already seeing with struggling with the break, right? So it's just part of the process, which is also why, again, recall takes so long, because sometimes the dogs just get paranoid and won't want to leave the owner. If that ever happens, I just tell the dog break, and I just wander and ignore them. And he might be walking with you for like 30 minutes, and then I just ignore them. People tend to push the dog leaving too much, and that energy of getting him trying to leave is actually what gets him to stay. Okay, so I just ignore them. I keep walking, walk past stuff that might interest him, trees, bushes, squirrels, rabbits, other dogs or whatever, trying to get him to like understand, like, you can walk away from me. We're not in heel right now, okay? Other questions?
No, we have parks, so there's ample opportunity to do this. So
excellent. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to repeat the exercise, but now we're going to start layering in the word come. Okay. So everything's going to stay the same. Milo, come. No repeat. You're going to just start tapping. If we don't see a response, keep tapping. Start to pull on the leash a bit. The moment he moves to you, we stop tapping, just a few steps back. Come to a stop, and then Milo should come to an auto sit when he lands. Okay?
Yep.
Break, break, break. Come here, bud.
Break.
Attaboy. Yeah. He was enjoying his nap time. There we go.
Milo, come.
Tip. Good. Good. And praise. And I forgot to add, when you call him, if he starts running to you before you can tap, still tap at least once. And I'll explain that afterwards.
All right. I think I tapped there.
Break.
Milo, come.
Back, 1, 2, 3. Good. Break.
Break. Break.
Yeah, boy. Good.
Good boy.
Just a couple more.
Break. Break.
Break. Good. Good. Yeah, boy. Good. Come on. Good.
Milo, come.
Now here, turn the face. Yeah, there you go. And hold. Good job. And praise. Good. And break.
Break. Break.
Now this one, what you can do is call him as I'm walking away from him, from you with him.
Milo, come.
Tap, 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 tap. There you go. What's the number right now?
Good boy. He's 45.
Let's try 50. And we're going to try that a few more times of calling him as I move away.
Break.
Break, break. Come on, buddy. Good. Good.
Milo, come. Milo, come.
There you go. Good.
Good boy. Break.
Good.
Break.
Come on. Yeah, boy. Good. Break. Come on.
Milo, come. Milo, come.
Good. Tap, tap. Good. Good.
Good boy. Good boy. Break.
Good. We'll do a couple more.
Break.
What's that?
Start.
You like the ball?
Milo, come. Milo, come.
Tap, 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 tap. Good. Good. And one more.
Break. Break.
Come on. Yeah, boy. Break. Come on. Come on.
Milo, come.
Right. That was a good one. Good. And break. Good.
Break.
Bring him forward.
Break.
Yeah, boy. You can come forward with them too. There you go. So on that last one, as he was walking towards me,
Yeah.
you saw kind of like a U-turn.
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking for. Okay, so we have, there's two components to the recall, the turn and return. So if he were to be chasing something, the turn is how quickly does he turn away?
Yep.
Then the return is the speed of the comeback. And they both have to be quick, okay? So if you have a slow turn, if he's distracted, like playing with dogs and he's distracted, and like you get his attention and it's not the quickest turn, he's gonna re-engage with the play. If he's on his way back to you and it's not fast, what you'll see is they'll kind of get like, but my friends are over here. Next thing you know, they turn around and they go back playing with their friends, right? So both components have to be quick in order to be applicable like in any situation. When Milo come, boom, like I want an immediate 180 and as quick of a return as possible. We can create that through practice, or if we feel like he's not getting better, we can create it through adding more power, okay? So we went as high as 50 today. Shh, you're looking suspicious there, dog. As high as 50. So when you work with him, especially when he's playing with his dog friends, expect that you might be higher than that, okay? And be ready with that leash, because if you're tapping, because with the running around and the adrenaline pumping and the playing and the excitement stuff, 50 might not come through, you'll need to bump it, but you can help him turn quicker by putting pressure on the leash when you call him, okay? Now, if anyone's gonna add food or positive reinforcement to any command that they teach, I always tell them do it for the recall, okay? You don't have to, but if you wanna add extra incentive, it's the most important command, so that's where we'd wanna do it. So earlier we did it just for the break, right? So for this, if you do a recall, and Milo does a really good job, and you like it, you can feed it. Okay, so you can also pick and choose. You feed the really good ones, you ignore the not so good ones. So he starts to get incentivized to like return more quickly or whatever. You can also just feed every single time in the beginning, and then as you condition them to get quicker and faster, you start to wean it away. Okay, ultimately the collar is going to give you the ability to make him return should something happen. When you do feed, it would be he comes, and you would feed after he automatically puts that butt down. Okay, you wait for him to complete the task completely before we reward. Okay, we use really high value stuff here. Like you saw, we brought out sausage, cheese sticks, sausage, pepperoni, ham, turkey, rotisserie chicken. As long as the dog doesn't have any allergies to it, we use it. And we also change it up as well, because then the dog will get tired of the same thing all the time. So we keep rotating it. Because since we do train them to a higher level, once we start to get to more advanced things, we feed them. Otherwise, for them, it's kind of like humans. Like you're not going to work hard and not be paid for it. Okay. So same thing for the dog. But then once we get everything conditioned, we wean it away. We don't need the food anymore. Okay. So if you want, you can always start first no food, and then if you're like, I think I got this pretty down packed, you can add it in as an additional reinforcer. Okay. Questions about any of this stuff?
I don't think so. Just. I don't think so. I tried to teach him the recall, like back in December, but I was using a really short leash, doing it by myself. And I had treats, and he would never get away from me because he knew the treats were there.
Sure.
So he's just following me around everywhere.
Yeah, and if you see that, you can just lay off the food again.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do is to give yourself more opportunities to practice the recall. You can do the short leash recall. What that is let's say you give him a break and he's like sniffing and he's like peeing and pooping, and you just let him be a dog. And then once you see him like get like a nice scent or something, I'll just like stand there for a bit, and then Milo will come. But you get as far away as you can using your leash, just giving your slack out, and then doing the movements back so that he's got some space to cover. It's not realistic, but it at least helps you practice more of it than you would if you only practice if you went to the park with the long leash. Okay. Again, expect it to be time. A lot of practice before it's fully off leash reliable. Typically, what we do is we go long leash to long leash dragging, to no leash enclosed area, to no leash unenclosed area, are the phases I give people. Okay. So like if you feel like, man, his recall is really good during play and all that stuff, then I drop the leash. It's still on him, and when I call him, I'm near it, but it's not in my hands, because the dogs will see it, and they act like a visual. So then when you drop it on the ground and you call him, he'll act like he doesn't know what he's doing. So then I can step on the leash and keep remoting, and the moment I see him come to me, I can move back to let him know, like, yes, that's what you're supposed to do. Okay?
Yeah.
Anything else?
No. I think I'm good. I just imagine myself chasing the leash around. I dropped it, but
Sure.
it's okay. No, I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah. He did good today. I think his response was pretty decent.
Yeah.
So just keep messing with it, and now you have an idea of range, in terms of what he's going to need, and then just factor in that if he's distracted, it might be a little bit more.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.